He was called a benefactor by his emperor. 2 years later, he was ordered to kill himself. His name was Nian Gengyao. He did not rise through connections. In the 39th year of Kangxi's reign, Nian Gengyao entered government service through the imperial examinations, the most competitive meritocratic route in the empire. Starting as a junior compiler at the Hanlin Academy, he proved himself capable of writing, fighting, and managing complex frontier affairs. This kind of dual literary military talent was exceptionally rare among Han Chinese officials in the Qing dynasty. Kangxi cultivated him over many years, promoting him steadily to governor of Sichuan and then governor-general of Sichuan and Shanxi. At one point, the emperor told him to his face, "I have absolutely no doubts about you." In that era, this was the highest possible expression of imperial trust. It was not a pleasantry. Nian Gengyao took it to heart. He believed this was the position he deserved. That belief eventually cost him his life. When Yongzheng took the throne, his hold on power was far from secure. Several of his brothers commanded their own factions, and the court was thick with undercurrents. What Nian Gengyao controlled at this moment was not just a general's title. It was the entire northwestern military system. Troop deployments, supply logistics, garrison assignments, frontier intelligence, everyone along that chain answered to Nian Gengyao. For a newly enthroned emperor, this was not favoritism. It was strategic dependence. If the northwest collapsed, the entire western flank of the empire lay exposed. So Yongzheng's attitude toward Nian Gengyao went far beyond any normal ruler-subject relationship. Their private correspondence was later compiled and preserved. Reading it today, the tone is startling. Yongzheng wrote in his own hand, "I truly do not know how to express my affection for you." He ordered fresh lychees rushed by relay horse from Beijing to Xi'an in 6 days, just so Nian Gengyao could have a taste. In one annotation, he called their bond a model of the ruler-subject relationship for all of history. These were private palace memorials. No one else saw them. There was no reason to perform. When Yongzheng wrote those words, he meant them. Nian Gengyao meant them too. In the first year of Yongzheng's reign, Lobzang Danjin, a Mongol leader in Qinghai, launched a rebellion. This was no ordinary frontier skirmish. Qinghai connected Tibet to Mongolia, and losing control there would shake the Qing's grip on the entire northwest. Nian Gengyao was given command as Grand General pacifying the distant regions and placed in charge of all northwestern military operations. The campaign was swift and decisive. He led 5,000 light cavalry in a surprise strike on the rebel base camp, destroying the main force in a single blow. When the victory report reached Beijing, Yongzheng was so elated he lost his composure. In his written response, he used a word that was virtually impossible in the context of ruler and subject: benefactor. An emperor calling his own minister a benefactor. Nian Gengyao absorbed the weight of that word. What he did not realize was that it was also a trap, not one set by Yongzheng, but one he set for himself. He began to believe he was truly irreplaceable. From that point, Nian Gengyao's power reached heights no Han Chinese official had ever touched in the Qing dynasty. Grand General, Grand Preceptor, First-Class Duke, Governor-General of Sichuan and Shanxi, the titles alone were staggering. But what mattered more was the actual power. His lists of recommended officials were filed separately by the Ministry of Personnel under the label Nian Selections. This meant an entire cohort of officials owed their careers to Nian Gengyao personally. Their loyalty pointed not toward the court, but toward him. This was no longer a matter of personal favor. It was a political network taking shape. Yongzheng saw it, but he did not move. Then Nian Gengyao did a series of things that made anyone paying attention hold their breath. When he traveled to Beijing for an imperial audience, the Governor-General and Governor of Zhili knelt by the roadside to receive him. When he entered the capital, princes and nobles lined up in the suburbs to greet him. He rode past on horseback without turning his head. Mongol princes were required to kneel before him. Even the emperor's own son-in-law was no exception. In Jining, he seized the daughter of a Mongol prince. At the front, he executed provincial military commanders at will. A man who has been told long enough that he is irreplaceable will eventually believe it completely. Nian Gengyao's arrogance was not a sudden character flaw. It was the natural product of unchecked power. When everyone around him bowed, when the emperor himself called him benefactor, nothing in his world was left to remind him, "You are still a subject." Yongzheng watched from the side. He did not object. He did not warn. He simply took note. That silence was the most dangerous signal of all. Nian Gengyao read it as approval. He failed to understand what the silence actually meant. Yongzheng was waiting for the case to build itself. A man who has already given you every reason to act is far easier to handle than a threat still taking shape. From the emperor's perspective, the question was never whether Nian Gengyao was loyal. The question was whether he had become too powerful. At the end of Yongzheng's second year, Nian Gengyao returned to Xi'an and submitted a memorial of gratitude. Yongzheng's response was lengthy. The final line read, "For any minister, seeking merit is easy, but achieving it is hard. Achieving it is easy, but preserving it is hard. Preserving it is easy, but ending well is the hardest of all." This was a warning. The tone was still measured, but the meaning was unmistakable. Nian Gengyao read those words, but he did not truly grasp what they meant for him. He was still living in the world where the emperor had called him benefactor. In the second month of Yongzheng's third year, Nian Gengyao submitted a memorial in which he reversed the character order of a classical idiom, writing Siti Chaoqian instead of Chaoqian Shiti. Perhaps it was genuine carelessness. Perhaps it was the absent-mindedness of a man who had been treated as exceptional for too long. Yongzheng seized on those four characters, declaring this was no innocent slip but a sign of arrogance and disrespect. 4 characters became the last straw that broke everything. But that straw was never the real reason. Yongzheng had already made his decision. He was simply waiting for the right moment to act. What followed is known in history as the Nian Gengyao case. The collapse came with the speed of an avalanche. 3rd month, stripped of his Grand General title. 4th month, reassigned as General of Hangzhou, from the military corps to a provincial backwater. 7th month, demoted further to idle bannerman. 9th month, escorted to Beijing under guard. 12th month, charged with 92 offenses, over 30 of which carried the death penalty. From the heart of the empire's military power to a man who was nothing at all. Less than 1 year. He was not struck down in a single blow, he was stripped away piece by piece. Each demotion was a public humiliation. Each title removed sent the same message to the entire empire. This man is no longer needed. Throughout this process, Nian Gengyao never stopped doing one thing, writing memorials begging Yongzheng for mercy. He wrote them one after another, his tone growing more abject with each, calling himself a dog, a horse, dust beneath the throne. In one memorial he wrote, "Your servant is not yet old. Leave this one dog and horse to slowly serve his master. I lie on the ground and cry out, begging my master for mercy. I truly cannot hold back my sobs." He believed the emotions in those private memorials had been real. He believed Yongzheng had meant every intimate word. So he thought that if he showed enough sincerity, enough submission, something in that relationship would reawaken. But there was one thing he never saw clearly. What Yongzheng had written was real, but that reality had its own boundaries. In the logic of imperial power, emotions are real, but imperial authority is more real than emotions. When a person's very existence begins to threaten the absoluteness of that authority, the emotions do not disappear. they simply become entirely irrelevant. The relationship between Nian Gengyao and Yongsheng was never one between equals. Nian Gengyao believed there was a genuine emotional current flowing between two people. On Yongsheng's side, there was indeed emotion. But that emotion had never existed outside the framework of power. In the 12th month of Yongzheng's third year, Nian Gengyao was ordered to take his own life. He was 47 years old. History has seen others reach the same heights Nian Gengyao did. Fan Li helped King Gujian of Yu destroy the state of Wu, a contribution no smaller than Nian Gengyao's. But before the victory celebrations were over, Fan Li was already gone. He left behind one line: "When the birds are gone, the good bow is stored away." Zhang Liang helped Liu Bang conquer the empire, then announced he was retiring to study the Tao. Both men chose to leave completely. They saw through the nature of power and did not look back. Others chose a harder path. Li Bai of the Tang dynasty was summoned from seclusion 4 times, serving 4 successive emperors through their most dangerous crises. Each time the crisis passed, he voluntarily withdrew to the mountains. It was not that he did not want power. It was that he understood more clearly than anyone else. An emperor needing you in a crisis and an emperor tolerating you in peacetime are 2 entirely different things. Getting close to power is not hard. Knowing when to step back is. Li Bai navigated this his entire life, and he died of natural causes. Nian Gengyao was the exact opposite. He only knew how to move forward, never backward. The greater his achievements, the closer he pressed. He believed that closeness meant safety. But in the world of power, the logic runs precisely the other way. He spent his whole life doing the right things. The one thing he never learned was when to stop.